Every small comment, every minor setback, if all of it gets under your skin, you're handing your power away in pieces. Strength isn't found in a life with fewer problems, it's found in the mastery of your response. Imagine moving through the world untouched by gossip, unmoved by judgment, unshaken by chaos. No more spirals of overthinking, no more disappearing into emotional storms. Just steady composure no matter what the day brings. Here's the paradox. When you stop letting everything disturb you, you don't become cold, you become free. You discover a quiet strength that commands respect without volume, a presence that turns setbacks into stepping stones. If this speaks to you, then consider choosing growth. We hand our peace to people and situations that don't deserve that kind of control. But what if you stopped letting the world pull your strings? What if nothing outside you could disrupt your inner calm, no matter how loud it got? True strength begins there. Not in controlling others or trying to bend reality to your will, but in mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you understand that your reaction is always your choice, you reclaim power most people give away every single day. Life will always test you. People will misunderstand you, criticize you, insult you, even betray you. Circumstances will change without warning. But your response, that's yours. Instead of being tossed by every storm, you become the anchor in the middle of it. Think of the people who leave the deepest impression. They're unshaken. They don't need to shout to be heard. They don't defend themselves at every turn. Their calmness commands respect. Carl Jung said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." That inner clarity creates a presence so powerful it can't be ignored. Imagine being insulted in public. Most people snap back or get defensive. But what if, instead, you smiled and walked away? You would protect your peace and quietly disarm your opponent. They wanted control over your state by refusing. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How many nights have you lost replaying words that didn't deserve your focus? When you act as if nothing bothers you, not by pretending, but by training your mind, you stop donating your life to the trivial. Consider failure. For some, it crushes identity. For the disciplined, failure is data. It's feedback. A lesson wrapped in discomfort. They don't let it define them. They use it to refine themselves. That's what separates the resilient from the broken, the ability to see failure as part of the process, not the end of the story. Pressure works the same way. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Pressure exposes preparation. Every time you choose silence over argument, patience over frustration, clarity over confusion, you strengthen yourself. These small choices, repeated, become armor. There's a quiet magnetism to people who carry this armor. They don't seek attention, attention finds them. In a world desperate to be heard, someone who moves calmly, without needing approval, is captivating. People wonder, how does nothing seem to touch them? How do they stay composed when others unravel? Silence is one of the most powerful tools in this way of living. Most can't handle silence. They rush to fill it with explanations and defenses. But in silence, you hold the power. You observe. You watch people reveal themselves while you... Approval, too, is a trap. We're conditioned to chase it, but needing it makes you fragile. Plato put it simply, the person of good character does not need others' approval. Detach from validation, and you walk your path unapologetically. That doesn't mean ignoring criticism, it means filtering it. Take what's useful, discard the rest. The strong accept truth without emotion and move forward. The weak treat every critique as a threat and exhaust themselves defending against noise. Look at the great minds. Socrates faced accusation with composure. Seneca lived under the shadow of power with steadiness. Jung taught that what irritates us in others is a mirror to ourselves. The point is the same. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. The moment you stop wrestling with what's beyond you, you stop manufacturing your own suffering. Even daily annoyances, traffic, delays, changes are training. If you can practice calm in the small, you'll possess it in the big. The discipline to stay composed when it matters most begins with the discipline to stay composed when it matters least. Over time, you learn that emotional control isn't suppression, it's guidance. You still feel deeply, but feelings no longer drive the wheel. That's the difference between being easily shaken and being unshakable. Why do insults hurt so much? Often because, without realizing, you unsettle them with your stability. Epictetus had a bit of humor about this. If someone speaks ill of you, consider replying, "He was ignorant of my other faults, or he would not have mentioned these alone." The point isn't arrogance, it's freedom. When you don't cling to opinions, criticism loses its sting. Imagine hearing disrespect and smiling quietly, knowing your worth has never been theirs to hold. That's strength. Jung observed, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. When anger flares, look inward. What wound did those words touch, and why is that wound exposed to anyone who passes by? Heal it and you stop granting access. An insult is not truth, it's a projection. If you accept it, Seneca warned that we suffer most when we suffer before we need to, by replaying moments and feeding them with attention. Refuse to replay. Refuse to nurse the wound. In doing so, you cut the power at its source. This discipline runs against instinct. Pride wants to defend itself. Ego wants the final word. But strength isn't loud, it's deliberate. By not defending yourself, you often defend yourself better than words ever could. Your stillness says, I am beyond this. The most powerful people in history weren't those who barked back at every critic. They were those who kept their center when others lost theirs. Wisdom brings humility. Humility reveals that most criticism says more about the speaker than about you. There's a paradox here. The less you strive, when you need nothing from others, they start to give you everything. People listen closely when you finally speak because you do not waste words. Restraint increases value, like gold, rare and precious. Think of how many conflicts would have dissolved if you hadn't reacted. How many battles weren't worth a single word. Imagine the freedom of walking away, not in weakness, but in mastery. Epictetus said, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. Every reaction gives away power. Every calm pause takes it back. At first, this discipline feels unnatural. Your ego will resist. But with practice comes quiet confidence. You no longer need to be endlessly understood. Your worth, Seneca wrote, no person is more unhappy than one who never faces adversity, for they are not permitted to prove themselves. Daily life gives you chances to prove yourself, in words, in slights, in disrespect. Win not by conquering others, but by mastering yourself. Your victory is secure the moment you remain in control. So when a room fills with tension and voices rise, remember, the strongest person is not the one who demands to be heard. It's the one who can remain silent and still be felt. True dominance needs no reaction. It reveals itself quietly, steadily, unmistakably. Lie from that place, and you become the calm in the storm, the anchor that holds while others drift. Why is this so rare? Because from a young age we're conditioned. Name, don't narrate. A comment was made, not, they humiliated me. Filter criticism, is it useful? If yes, apply it. If no, discard it. Practice small detachment, ignore minor slights on purpose to build tolerance. Guard attention, reduce replays. No mental courtroom, no imaginary arguments. Choose your values. Decide who you are under pressure before pressure arrives. Use silence. Let silence carry your message when words would only feed chaos. Rehearse responses. Thanks for the feedback. Noted. Let's move on. Neutral, brief, closed. Train daily, cold showers, hard workouts, focused work blocks, controlled stress builds poise. Journal the wins. Note each moment you didn't react.